Now we're going to build a table for our teacup and saucer to sit on. So first we'll need a circle to start with. So Shift A. I'll move that circle down a bit. We'll get this teacup and saucer to sit together. And then select that circle. Go to the top view and we can scale it out. Press F to fill it. And now we'll go inset. Just inset a couple of times. And then Alt M and merge at center. And that should look like that. Now it's time to be creative and sort of make the table sort of how you like. So I'm going to select this outside edge, Alt and right click. So I can extrude and scale. Just bring it out this fraction amount. Maybe I didn't need to bring it out a fraction at all, but it doesn't matter. So scale and extrude. So you just still have to bear in mind it's going to look different once it's in subdivision surface mode. Extrude it down, and if you want to hold it to go straight down, not like kind of crooked angle, push X. Sorry, Z. Z's up and down. So I'll leave that like that. Now I'll push F to get a face here, and I inset a couple of times. So there might be alright, because from here we're going to make the post or the leg. So you can go to front view, push 1, and you can extrude down. Now you don't have to push Z in this case because you're in front view exactly, so it will just go on the Z automatically. However, you could change it. If you push Z, it takes it out. So I'm going to scale it down. Extrude. Scale it. So you just make up however you like. I've got no idea I've got no plan, so I'm just actually making it up as I go. Extrude bigger, extrude smaller, extrude bigger. You could calculate this and make it all exact if you wanted to. So you can use measurements and so forth. but I don't think I want to. Don't forget, you can always delete the whole thing if you don't like it. Push 1 there on the number pad. That zooms us in a lot, all the way, but I didn't need to. I'll scale it out a little bit more. I'll make the base not too big. I'm just grabbing that and then hitting Z. I hit 1 to give it side view again. Extrude. I might scale it in. Grab it on the Z, make it up. Extrude down again. Don't know how this is going to look. It might look very bad. I might just fill that in with F. Oh, it's already filled. That's right. So I better inset, and then one more, and then Alt M. That might look good. It might look bad. You can put additional feet on if you like. You can do it any way you like, really. You could grab a face and extrude it down and make a foot that way, or you could just Shift A and put some circles, spheres in there and just put them underneath to make them look like feet. But this tutorial is more so about making the coffee cup and just playing around with the rest. So if I go Control and 3, how does that look? I'll push Tab. There, it's okay. Push T and we'll go smooth shade that. Now push Tab. I'm going to fix these edges up. So I will go to my modifiers tab and click on that little triangle so you can see more exactly what's going to happen. So if I go Control R, you see how it fixes those edges up. So you can just make edges a bit better. Sharper, I mean. Doesn't have to be better. Control R. I want to just get that edge in a bit more. I'll do another one on the outer. Control R, bring it out a bit. And always check it again. So hit the triangle or tab actually just to go into object mode and sort of see how it's coming out, because you might not like it. Might just round up the bottom edge anyway. So Control R. See how that looks. Yeah, it's a bit better. That'll do. So now it's a good time to make a material for the table. So these materials I'm using are in the description below. So first we're going to navigate to your description. Where are you? I'm not watching what I'm doing. I'm going to open. Now, the one we're going to open is marble. I'm going to use the roughness as the color. So they're all a marble sort of pattern, but this was just the roughness texture. But I ended up trying it out and liking it more. And we also need to UV unwrap the table. So push A couple of times so the whole table's unwrapped. We can push U and just try this without marking seams. So we try unwrap and shift Z and see what happens. Yes, it's not great, but if you like that pattern, that's fine too. So I'll drag out a window at the top here. You can press T, close those bars, the toolbars. And I'm going to have a look at the UV image editor. It's here. So we want that. So if we go down here and go to material view, that'll show us about what's going on. I'll just unwrap it. Again, smart project unwrap. Give a bit of an island margin so it's easier to select. So smart project looks like it's done a pretty good job. So that would do in our situation. That'll be fine. So that worked out pretty easily. But yeah, if you want to mark it out specifically, that's fine. But let's get rid of that then. So that's the table done. That was fairly straightforward. Next, we've got a front view. I'm going to push Shift C. And then I'm going to go, where are we? Make sure we're in object mode. And we are. Well, I am. Shift A. Make a plane. Just drag it to the back. Just bearing in mind when you push 1 is front view. So if I look, that plane's at the back. So push R and then 90. So that rotates at 90. And push X. Make sure it's on the X-axis. I want to scale that up, that plane. So push S, scale, and then we're going to push S and X and just scale it out to the side a bit. So we're just going to UV unwrap this one again as well. Sorry, not again, as well. So go, first of all, we're going to tab, push W and go subdivide. Push T. I just put a few cuts in there. And if I just push 1 on the number pad, and then make sure it's all selected, and push U, we can go project from view. And that will literally project the UVs from the view. So if we're on an angle, it would project the UVs on an angle. But we want them straight on. So now, to put a pattern on our wall, I'll drag that out again. And go UV image editor. Actually, we need a material first. So that's selected. Go over here, go new, go color, image, and then open an image. And we want, for the wall, maybe some wallpaper. Have I got some wallpaper? There's some wallpaper. So open, and then that's projected on the wall already, so that's fine. That's all we need to do for that part. Now we just come down here, go to our wallpaper. Now we need to scale this UV pattern upwards, which makes that smaller. So push S and just drag it till the sort of pattern that you think is going to look alright. Now, you might need to get a better look, a closer look. I don't think that's too bad. I'll push 0 on the number pad. That's going to give me the camera view, which is not going to pivot. It's pivoting on what the object that I've selected. I've selected the wall, so to unselect the wall, I'm going to push tab to go out of edit mode, select the cup, and now it's going to pivot around the cup. So that's pretty much our view from the camera. The only thing left there is lighting, pretty much. But we can still go one further to make it a bit more fancy. We can make a doily for the table, which sort of covers the table up a bit. So either way, it's good practice making that table and the pattern. Right, now the doily is going to be a bit of a tricky one. So let's get stuck into it. Just have a look at that in solid view. Make sure you're in solid view. Make sure you're in object mode. So we're going to shift A, we're going to make another circle and scale it out. And make a big doily so it hangs over the end of the table. It's going to be huge. Now we also need to make sure it sits on the table. But what I want to do is get rid of this cup and saucer. So move that out of the way. So the doily is going to sit on top of the table. Now it's going to do that all by itself, so we're going to do some magic. So go to edit mode, push face. I'm going to inset. I'm going to try and make all these even, sort of squarish type, because this is going to need a lot of surface polygons. That can be the last one. Alt M, merge at center. Now, select the whole thing, push W and subdivide it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That should be okay. Right, next thing we've got to do is first we'll get out of edit mode, select the table, and we have to do something to it. We have to give it a collision modifier on it. And I think that should be okay. I'm not sure. And we'll give this top one a cloth modifier. And I'll give that bottom one a rigid body. So to make this work, we're going to have to use the table and make it a rigid body. So where are we? So set this rigid body from active to passive, and then select the cloth again. And we're going to run a simulation, but we don't need 250 frames here. So make it 100. And depending on your computer, it will sort of depend on how long this takes. because they could take a few minutes to do, or if you've got a really slow computer, it could crash your computer. So I know I don't tell you to save very often, but save often. Save your file, and then when you're ready, press bake. So bake, and that'll run through a simulation in the memory. You can see the memory being used here. But it will take some time. It could take a few minutes. So I've run my simulation. Now it's finished, and I've got this little purple line here to that's how many frames I've simulated. So you can actually grab the slider and drag it over the table, and just get the doily to a static position where you think it's going to look the best. So what's that? 79. Let's try a bit further. Yeah, maybe even there. I could put some smooth shading on it to make it look cool. Still looks a bit out of place. Let's try subdivision surface. So control and not 3. We'll try 1. That's not too bad. 3 might be a bit much for this because we've already subdivided it quite an amount. So I'll turn the render down as well. I'm going to risk it. We'll just try a couple more subdivisions. But don't go crazy with this because this will crash your computer as well. I'm going to just leave it at 1 and leave it there. We can leave the cloth modifier there too. So let's lower this cup back down. So right click, select that cup, push 1 on your notepad so we can see where we're dropping the cup to, and just sit the cup on top of the table. And if these grid lines are in your way and you don't like that, press N on the notepad. We can get rid of those grid lines. In display, grid floor, uncheck that. And that will get rid of that grid floor for you. Could help you out. Right, now it doesn't look like much of a doily at the moment, so we need to select it, right click on it, give it a material. So click new, and we're going to give it an image texture. We're going to open one called doily. So it's this one here, white with transparency. You should only have one download link to it, and open that image. Right, actually we also haven't UV unwrapped it, so let's go tab and make sure it's all selected, push U, and we can just push 7 actually. We'll go 7, sorry, 7 on the notepad. Now push U, stop moving my mouse. Project from view will be fine for this one. So we can go back, push tab again, put that back there. And now we're going to make sure that's sitting right. Go to texture, material view. So that's the doily on there. So yeah, we just need to fix that up a bit. So drag out another window. I'm going to close these toolbars. So T and N and T and N. Window, we're going to use a node editor. No, we're not. I'm going to use a UV image editor first to get the pattern about right. So I'll push tab there because we need to do that to see it. And we're going to scale this UV out a bit. I'm just going to drag it across. So push G, and if you don't do anything else but just push the arrows, you can just move it across slightly with the arrow. If you want to really fine sort of adjust it, that's one way of doing that, and push enter if it's exactly where you want, which I have done. Now what I'm going to do is have your mouse over this window and push tab. So that's your doily. Looks more like a doily, but we don't want to get rid of that black area. We just want the white. So we'll change the view to our node this time. Right, now I'm going to give us some more room. I'm just going to put it a bit more central. So we're going to organize this a bit differently. So first of all, we want to go Shift A. I'm going to mix shader and put it up here. And then up here, we're going to put a transparent shader there and join that into the top shader. And what else are we going to do? I'm going to get the alpha, this is going to tell the mix shader where to make it transparent. Let's just have a look. So that's our doily. And if we Shift Z, have a look at how it would render out, then we can see right through the doily. Now the last thing here we've got to do is set up some lamps. So let's just do that. So go into solid view, make sure it's in solid view, and let's play with some lamps. This lamp, we're going to go into front view, push G, grab it, put it over the top for a bit of light up there. And we're going to make sure it's on point, which it is. Use nodes, emission, change the color a little if you like to change the colors. And this will just give you different sort of colors, reflection colors. And the strength, I'm going to put a value of 2000 and use that. Next of all, I'm going to duplicate the lamp. So Shift D, bring it down to the side. Just position that, sort of pretending that it's going to be like a window. And then we're going to use a different sort of lamp. We're going to use a spot light. Push R, you can rotate that up a bit. You can scale it back a bit. And just have a look around. I might sort of get that a bit more looking straight at it. So just rotating things around. So that lamp, we're going to use a value of 1000. Push enter. And then we've got to do our environment light. So let's do that one. So go to this environment tab here, the world tab. There we go. Use nodes. For the color, I'm going to choose an environment texture. And we're going to open up a HDR. So open up the one you downloaded. HDR for teacup. And use the strength at 10. You can play with these values obviously if you just do a quick render. So Shift Z. You can go, oh, that's too bright, that's too dark, and just play with it. Which it might be too bright for us. you could just turn that down. You might want to try 5. And then you might want to turn the lamp up. So if you go to a lamp here, so that's selected, go to lamp properties and go, you might try 5,000. And then decide that doesn't do very much at all. You also change the lamp types to sun lamp. You could put that down a lot. 200 is a lot. Let's try 50 actually. It's fairly effective. I like that better. That's a sun lamp with a strength of 10. And if it's the sun, you might want to give it sort of an orangey red glow. Up to you. Do whatever you like with that one. And pretty much you can save it as a different version so you don't overwrite your old files just in case you thought you made a mistake. Now you can render it out. So if you like the look of yours, so go in the camera view, see if that's sort of what you like. You might want to extend your wall down if it's sort of not working for you. But otherwise, go to your render tab. You can always do a test render first. Scroll down to samples, leave it at 128, and then leave this one at 50%, and then push F12 and see what happens. This should render out fairly quickly, obviously depending on your computer. And then if you like it, render it out at a higher sample rate. So I think that's pretty good. I'm going to render that one out at a higher sample rate. So just going through this, denoising is good. So make sure that's checked. That's in your render layers. Put that up to 100% and render it out how you like. And push F12 and then wait.